Welcome to Tami's Soul Speak, featuring animal intuitive and medium Tami Hendricks, offering insight, spirituality, transformation, and clarity to every soul. Now, here's Tami.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you, wherever you are in the world. Whether it's morning or afternoon or evening, I hope it's a good day. I know it is probably a hot day for a lot of you. There's so much incredible heat going on, and I hope wherever you are, you're able to stay cool and uh, get the animals in so that they can be comfortable as well. Literally, we are all in this together, and there's nothing more makes that more obvious than a big heat wave when we're all experiencing it. No difference in all living beings. Even the bears here in Asheville have been kind of quiet. They only come out early mornings or late in the evening. So they're feeling it as well. All animals are, but it's really good to have you here today. I'm, as always, super excited about our show, just because it's one of my favorite topics ever. But animals, definitely animals and dreams. Dreams in general, yes, I can't wait to explore this. So it's really good that you're joining, because this is going to be fun. This is going to be really interesting, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say and what you're thinking. So hey, Pamela, it's good to see you. Good morning. Hey, Kat. Howdy, neighbor. Yes, it's hot here. It's like thick outside. Hi, Kate. It's good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. You and Tig, and of course Guido always is around. Hey, Claire. Afternoon. Oh, I bet it's hot and charred in the UK. It's just incredible as we move through this together. Hi, Greg. Good to see you. And Katrina, hello. Oh, Mary, this is so cool. Yes, I think so too. I really enjoy our time together, and I always, after the show, I'm just amazed at what we do together. We get what things we explore and what you have to say. You're an amazing, amazing group, and I'm so appreciative of you um, being here on any day where you could be somewhere else. Hey, Barbara. Aloha from Vegas. Good morning, Patricia. Patricia, I was just thinking about you and Maggie this morning. Hey, Dee. It's good to see you here. Upstate New York. I bet you're very hot there too. Angel and Light. Hello, hello. Love and blessings to you too. Hey, Lori, you're from New Hampshire. I love that. I have a favorite essence company. It's called Green Hope Farm Essences in New Hampshire. I'm not sure you're familiar with them, but they're an amazing company. I use essences all the time for my animals and recommend them. So yeah, I love that you're joining in. Hi, Victoria. It's so good to see you. Good morning, Jeff from Oregon. Oregon, such a beautiful state. All New Hampshire, there's so much beauty in each part of the world where we are. And was thinking this morning how I love to wake up to a new reality each morning. I love to wake up knowing that I don't know what's going to go on in the day. I don't know what I'm going to be guided to. I don't know what animals I'm going to encounter. Um, I always wake up with a sense of wonderment, and I hope you do too. And as we all gather together and do that, we can we affect change in the energy field. Hey, Lori, really good to see you. Hey, Peter, glad to have you here. Always glad to see you. Hey, Pamela, I'm sorry. You can go to your vet appointment, absolutely. So you can watch the replay 100%. So I want to get started and talk to you about one of my favorite topics, which I said, dreams. Um, I don't know, do any of you dream? Would you consider yourself a dreamer? And there are so many interpretations of that word that we're going to cover what happens in our sleep time, but there are whole other like areas that we could branch off into. And I probably will be doing a workshop on dreaming and what that looks like and how do we dream. And it's a really fun topic in the imaginative realm. So, you know, what is a dream? What would you say what would you say is a dream? Images that come to you while you sleep? Would you say information while you sleep? Is it, a lot, as I've read, I'm sure you've read dreams in the subconscious, where the subconscious is trying to bring up things that we haven't processed, things that need to be released, energy that wants to be released. I totally agree with that. I've always had a little like an additional, I guess, uh, understanding of dreams. And because I've definitely been a dreamer, am a dreamer, they come like they came rapidly about 2 or 3 weeks ago. They've slowed down. I used to worry like, oh, I want my dreams back. Am I going to keep dreaming? But I found that our dreams come almost like in little packs of things that we are unpacking. And a lot of times that is very just practical information we need in the moment. So I don't worry anymore that my dreams won't come back. Um, so yes, Kat says she's a lucid dreamer. And Kate, yes, I dream, but I don't remember them unless scary. I maybe can help you with that. Later on, I'll suggest something. Hey, Leslie, yes, I bet you are a lucid dreamer in great detail and color. Um, the more we invite that in, as opposed to saying, I don't dream, which is what I hear a lot from people. No, I don't dream. I'm not a dreamer. I don't ever remember my dreams. I used to dream as a child, but I don't anymore. You know, it's interesting because when we're children, we're most likely open, but it's easier to access that realm, I think, as a child. And so, what you want to kind of get in the mindset of is inviting the dreams into your waking world, the waking dream, inviting your dreams to inform you and give you information, because it's almost like an invitation, an opening that we have to like call that in, as it were. Um, Let's see. Mary says, I was having a dream and my old best friend Chico just appeared behind a veil. I think I was talking to my dad and he appeared in my dream. He looked so handsome. Apparently, he has my recent pet Ginger with him. I love this. I, I love that you had this dream and then your father presented himself and he was able to share information to you. It was, I would say, if I had to interpret this for you as far as the feeling of it, when he appeared and he looked so handsome, that is such a comforting kind of like brings a smile to your face feeling. And I love that he has Ginger with him. The the way spirit works with us in dreams is absolutely amazing, whether it's people or animals or both. There's no limits. And that's why I love jumping into this topic, because the dream world is absolutely magical. Mary, thank you for sharing that. Kat says, I can't fathom not dreaming. It seems foreign to me. To me as well. But a lot of people, like I said, a lot of times we don't feel like we can dream. And we're like, what is the code for dreaming? Like, just tell me what the code is, because I will be right on that. And hopefully we'll work through some of that today. And you'll feel more comfortable when you leave, and you'll feel like you have more access to the dream world if you feel like you don't right now. So, let's see. Susie said visits from loved ones, processing past events, information. I need to investigate. Yeah, I would agree, and I'm going to share some things that I've experienced, myself. Um, you know, early on, well, before I met a very good friend slash mentor of mine in Mount Shasta, I dreamt, but I didn't understand them at all, and I didn't keep a record of them. The record was in my head, and I've learned over the years it's so important to write them down, because when we write our dreams down, and I have a little. I think I brought a well, I brought a dream book in here, and I also have a fresh dream book where I just write things down and record them. They don't have to make sense. A lot of times they don't. But that's how you invite them in. That's part of how you invite them in. It's just honoring that they're there and taking the time to record something, like making it a point so that you can look back later. So basically, would you say, are all dreams messages? Um, Messages, obviously, from the dad and the dog that showed up. And then what about, like we talked about, practical messages? I'll tell you in a few minutes about a client who had a pretty amazing dream. And talk about practical information. It was unbelievable, how much detail she had, and how uh, simple really the message was, even though all dreams are metaphorical, meaning you may be shown images that you have to kind of decode. So to me, dreams have always been like a treasure hunt. I love it when I get a dream. And so I'll write it down, and I'll sit with it. I'll think about it all day. I'll just like, what message was that? Or wonder why it came up at this time in my life. So, and the animals definitely over the years have come to me. I had a dog named Annie, and she was a basset hound, and she had puppies, and Henry stayed with her, but she had cancer later on in her life. I had her for about 3 years, and she was just so sad. She had such sadness that she never could quite let go of with her time with me. I think she did a lot of processing, and she did release things, uh, but she was an incredible communicator. The morning she passed, I had a dream, and in the dream, it was actually, this is a great example of metaphor. Uh, One of my son's friends was saying, Miss Hendricks, I'm leaving today. And I said, well, where are you going? And he said, well, I don't know yet. He said, but I'll be leaving. And he had a suitcase and everything. And I said, well, will you be coming back? And he said, yes, I'll probably be back, but I have to go now. I woke up and I thought, well, that's interesting. I had a dream about a kid named Jordan. That afternoon, I went to check on Annie, and she had passed in her favorite spot. I you know, I know in my heart that's what that was. She was using the form of a human to give a very clear message that she would be leaving, and that morning she wouldn't take any of her pills. The morning before, she wouldn't take clenched her teeth, wouldn't take her pills. She knew she was going. So don't ever think that they don't have the capacity to send you messages and to share things with you. Um, Yes, my dog Angel. Yes, and we'll talk about that, Steve. Susie says I used a site called Dream Modes or Dream Moods. I look up things that are in my dreams. Oh, I've never heard of that site, so I'll have to look it up too. Um, I've learned to kind of be the detective and find out what the fascinating information is, and really appreciate. That's the other thing. Really appreciate your dreams, because it's pretty miraculous what can come through. And when animals communicate, it's amazing. Patricia says, I dream a lot, and I used to dream about Maggie all the time when she was here. I was always worried about her getting lost in my dreams. Now that she is gone, weirdly enough, I've not had one single dream about her. I've been waiting for her to come in my dreams, and I don't understand why that's not happening, because when she was here very often to dream about her, I will still wait for her dream visit. Maybe my heart's still aching badly. Usually my dreams are very vivid, and I hope she will come. Let me see, I lost, but the rest of your message. But and this must, Patricia, why it was that you came to me this morning before the show, Maggie. It's funny. It was a really clear feeling about Maggie and dreams. When you're talking, I get this sense with her that she's like, "Why would I come to her in a dream when I'm right here?" She literally is saying that, "I'm right here." So I would not give up on the dreams. I would ask her to come in the day as a waking dream, if that makes sense, so that you don't miss it. Because when we go to sleep and we expect the dream to come, it's like we like squeeze like, dream come to me, and it almost puts a block up. So ask for her to come to you during the day, and can come in the form of signs and messages. Could also be translated to it's the cousin, the sister, the whatever of the dream world. So I wouldn't rule out dreams coming in another form at all. It's just we have to recognize them. Jody says, I still haven't had a dream since my dog passed. I wait for him to arrive. He passed in December. I get it. I haven't had dogs come to me immediately, but then some have. I've had dogs come years later in a dream when I'm not even thinking consciously about them. So dreams are kind of those unpredictable, uh, imaginative realm where we can't control it. The only thing we can do, and it's the best thing to do, is receive it. Absolutely. Just open yourself to receiving a dream, and then is it messages? What are your dreams trying to tell you? As we talked, how do you find the meaning? Do you write your dream down? And I've seen several of you say, and Leslie said, I started writing them in my notes on my phone and then journal on it. A great idea, because sometimes that's the fastest way we can do it. Just, if I could emphasize anything, it would be write it down. Even if you voice text it to yourself and you write, that's a good way too, actually. um, that's one of the things that's the communication piece, and the getting the information down is really, really helpful. So if you don't have time to write it, voice it and record it. And the good thing about that is you get to hear your voice, and you get to hear the inflections and the tone that you use. It's very, as we talked about last time, voices, it's a huge, like, that's a huge component of energy. um, Kat says, something I found helpful is to ask before falling asleep for your loved one to give you a meeting place in dreams. You'll find you're able to experience it more easily. I love that suggestion. I love that. You know, yes, it's like you meet with the person in the same place, or the spirit in the same place every time. Um, so that's a great suggestion. I love that, and I hope everybody uh, that before you go to sleep, asks for to be shown where this gathering is supposed to take place, kind of like we're doing this now. This is our gathering spot. We have created this energetic space where we all come together at this time, and we exchange information. So I love that. And I had written down, how do you find the meaning? And one was, do you Google it? And yes, Susie said, yes, I Googled it to dream moods. I love that. And, you know, does it stay with you the whole day? Does it affect your life? And the more you, I guess, look into this, the more that's going to be something that you can feel, and you may, write it down if you have it in the morning, and then you go on with your day. I wouldn't be surprised if other bits and pieces don't fall in. So I've gathered like what I would consider like the most common types of dreams. Informational, that we talked about, prophetic, definitely, visitations, and messages. So if I back up, what's an informational dream? A dream that gives you practical information, like how to solve a problem you're having. Um, and somewhat, when we get into it, prophetic dreams can overlap with that. But just to break it down, I'll tell you an example of an informational dream. This came from one of my clients I was working with one on one in a session. So I wrote this down. A client of mine had a dream while away on vacation. The dream was about being locked out of her house. She tried all the doors in the dream, but none would open. She even tried crawling through a dog door and couldn't get through. She finally found a window that wasn't locked and crawled through the window. Then she woke up. A week later, she learned that her husband had changed all the locks on the house without telling her. That to me, you talk about practical information. And when she had the dream, she didn't understand it. I love that in the dream there was a window and the window opened. Very, very symbolic, very like there was an opening that she could get through, and she kept trying. So these dreams, I think, whether they make sense at the time or not, that's why I'm like, write them down because then it comes later. She was so shocked that that was actually was that kind of a prophetic dream, 100%. But it was also, I don't know, also like getting information like real time, current time, which is wonderful because it's not just like we're picking up from the past or the future. It's like current time. This is what's happening, happened. Um, Greg asked, would you consider a vision and a dream the same? You know, Greg, and Greg has this amazing ability to dream through visions. And so, yes, I would. That vision that you shared with me was actually a type of dream. We get hung up on what dream is. And when people hear the word, we automatically go to, oh, we know what a dream is. But actually, all words have expansion, and dreams are no different. So, um, visions are definitely in the category of dreams as well. So I would definitely confirm that from my experience. So then there's the prophetic dream, right? A dream that's predictive in nature, giving you a heads up of what's to come. Sometimes you don't know at the time that this dream will predict what's coming, right? So Renee, if you would put up, I'm going to share Butch with you. Some of you have been with me a while. Um, have seen Butch before. He was on my show, Old Souls, and he was part of an amazing way that he came to me. And I've got my book here, my little dream book from years ago. I've got plenty of dream books, but I don't know if you can see it. I can hold it up, but I don't know if you can see that. So this on the screen is part of what I wrote. So you can see I really do write them down. But I'm going to read you the first part. This is actually the second page of it. So this happened on March 5th, 2006. A very large dog shows up outside, but his head is big and rounded, almost like a bulldog's head. He's skinny, and one of his front paws seems hurt or tender, and he has a collar, tattered and old. Since he seems friendly, I talk with him while petting his big head. He is very gentle. I escort him to the outside of the property and let him go. Again, I don't know how he got inside the property because that property's fenced, but it's a dream. I figure he just made his way here by mistake, and I go about my business. At some point, I look up and see him pacing in front of the property at the fence. Back and forth he paces. Then he lifts off the ground to jump over the 6-foot fence, and he comes trotting toward the house again. I meet him and take him to the lower barn, putting him in a middle stall. Inside the stall, I set up a large Orvis dog nest. Don't you love how specific that dream was? I read that back and I had to laugh. He sits still, watching me work. Bowls, food, water. I gather all the necessary items for my new guest. When I finish, I approach him to look at the injured paw. He extends one paw in a formal greeting, a shake. Although I know that the dog door is not large enough for him to get through, in the stalls I have dog doors. It's a barn that's been morphed into a day play. Um, anyway, is not large enough for him to get through. I also know we will soon be ordering one his size as he feels like he's here to stay. Now, if you're looking at that slide and you're looking at Butch, pretty good description of him. I didn't know it at the time. Butch arrived 3 months later. Now, meantime, I had totally forgotten this dream, right? I just wrote it down, found it to be quite interesting. But the way he came onto the property, interestingly enough, was he chewed his way through the fence. So this is a chain link, 6-foot fence that he chewed like hooch. He chewed a hole through it. And I remember coming down to the lower barn to play with the animals and seeing this like rogue dog in the area. And I went out there and said, I'm pretty sure you need to go back home, and uh, escorted him right back off the property and fixed that little hole he had created. He didn't dig. He'd like, I don't know how he did it. It's just like pulled it apart, and so I went about my business. I turned around and he had just found another place to like right back in. This went on. I guess I was a slow learner. I was like, no, you need to go back from where you're supposed to, you're not supposed to be here. But he was very determined to come. And just like in the dream, I could feel that from him. And so, long story short, with Butch, after several coming back in, I decided that I needed to get up to speed with putting him, I had an extra place I could put him, and, he ended up having severe, severe, severe heartworms and had to be treated and almost died. And I sat with him for about a week. I was pretty angry actually at how he came on the property. Like he just pushed his way on. He didn't invite himself. Um, and it was in that sitting in that week of him, I guess, I felt like he was deciding whether he was going to stay or go. Two things happened. One, I remembered the dream. It came to me while I was just sitting with him for hours, and I would have my hand resting on him as he breathed. And the other thing that came to me at some point was that my heart had opened from the anger of how I had had my choice taken from me, that he was just here, and I had to all of a sudden jump to it, to this huge heart opening of, you know what? If you're willing to heal, I'm absolutely right here with you. I'm willing to be with you. And he turned out to be, oh my goodness, the most amazing dog. And really the theme of his life, he was the dog with the golden heart. So do you see how that happens? Like it was months before, and I didn't know that was a prophetic dream. I didn't have a clue. I was just writing my dream down, and as they were coming, said that, and it's, to me, when I look at things like that, I'm just so amazed at how the animals can communicate with us, how spirit can communicate with us when we're open. And I didn't have any like thought about what to do about that dream. I'm just like, "Ah, I had a dream, I wrote it down." Um, and so that's one way. If any of you've had those type of dreams, um, cherish them. Right? They're wonderful. All of the dreams are. Catlin says, "Damn, we definitely need a Kleenex alert for the show. I forgot to tell you that. It's not that bad today." But, well, sort of. Look, we'll see till I get to a few more stories. You might want to grab your Kleenex. Um, and so the other one's a visitation. And yes, meant to be, Mary says, visitation. When you have a dream of someone, animal, or person that is very vivid, and when you wake up, you can feel that you've just been with them. In fact, you're certain of it. These dreams can profoundly affect you. And going back to Greg's, is a vision, considered, or a visitation considered a dream or a vision? He had both in his dream, which was he had a vision of his dog, and he spent time with her. And the way he describes it to me is it's extremely vivid. He's very detailed, but and also, just FYI, the dreams come to us in the filter that we have. So if we're very visual, then a lot of times the dreams will come, very, very visual, very detailed. And it's important, like I said, to capture all the different essences of the dream. Dee says, "I dreamt there were two small dogs in the yard with five tiny new puppies, eyes still closed. One dog dragged a puppy into a puddle and stepped on it to hold it down. I brought the babies into the house, was bathing them, and woke up." Oh, how interesting. Um, hmm. I'm wondering when that happened. What was that recent? Was that a while ago? Um, yeah, no, that's definitely very symbolic. The eyes being closed. And I'd be curious to think, or ask, what would you think that the puppy being dragged, into the puddle was about? I would ask you what the feeling was of it. That will be that's a really good one to work on. I've got a great exercise that dropped in for the show that I think, let's use that for you to help kind of go under what really is going on with that, or what the message was. Um, yes. Oh, it was last night. Oh, so cool. And here you are. This is great. We will definitely work with this one. Um, on when I get to the decoding of our dreams. So I want to share with you something that, it's about Harry. And Victoria is with us on the show today, and she was kind enough to share this dream that she had about Harry. And Renee, if while I'm talking, if you would put that up, he is just absolutely, completely precious, and you cannot look at Harry without your heart just melting. It's in the eyes. It's in the just the being, the soul that he was. Harry has passed recently and fairly unexpectedly and suddenly, and he wasn't that old at all. I believe Victoria, you can confirm. Maybe I want to say about 4, but I'd have to actually look back. So, when that happens, it's always so shocking, and, um, some people have told me, "Oh, I know that spirit can't come back to you quickly after they pass. They need a little time to adjust." There's no limitation on that, by the way. It's not like we think, but they have to go process, and then they can start coming in dreams. There's no limitation. So, this is oh, Harry was 3. Yeah, I knew he was pretty young. Um, so I'll augment a little bit what she shared just for the sake of the slide space. Um, so she really felt, and I would agree, after especially connecting with Victoria on a one-on-one, that he was her soulmate, and we can talk about that in another show about how you can feel. Um, how you can feel this connection with a being, and it doesn't necessarily make sense. A lot of people will say, well, it's an animal. Well, there's no difference. There's just no difference. And so we've got to train our inner eye to see, beyond the form, beyond how they show up. So she's saying at some point after he had passed, very soon after he had passed, I fell asleep in the afternoon, and I don't sleep well, so this is really unusual. I was dreaming Harry was beside me in bed, as he always was, and I was begging him not to leave, but to stay and grow old with me. I remember seeing his little tail, his little butt wagging tail walking away. It, such a poignant dream to have, but he definitely came to her. This is definitely a visitation dream. There is no question that, and I'm hearing right now as I'm talking, as I get into mode, he says bouncing right back. I'm hearing bouncing right back. And the dream I'm getting, that I told you about Teddy last week, where he fell and then he bounced right up, he's confirming that bouncing right back. And so he's very, very happy that he was able to come to you in a dream. And he isn't, animals don't resist how they left or how they passed. They all understand it's part of the bigger picture. And so Harry's was a very, very sudden jolt of a passing with the liver failure. And this dream that came, this visitation dream that came right after, within a few days. After, and when we experience a passing, there is actually a space that we're in for a while. The energy's still moving as the energy, it's my mentor always taught me it was like a 3-week period where it that's like the richest period ever for spirit to connect in, what word would I use? Such a clear way, setting up the stage for later connections. It's when we're usually grieving terribly, but the energy is up. I mean, real quickly, right after my sister passed and I came back to work at a furniture company at the time, person, the customer service person came in and we were chatting. And while we were chatting, I saw her husband show up right beside her, and he was like tapping her on the shoulder, laughing, like tapping her on the other shoulder so she would like look like, who's tapping me. And I remember watching her and listening to her, but I was really looking at him like, oh my goodness. So the energy created by my sister's passing that I was still carrying allowed him to come through and to be seen, and I was able to share that with her. Needless to say, any company or furniture or gift store or whatever that I've been involved teaching, it's always been, more than just the platform, which would have been a furniture or gifts. It's always about the people. It's always about the animals. But Harry, I wanted to share this, and Victoria was so gracious in allowing me to share this with you, to let you know it's not just me that has dreams. We all do, and I love that you've been commenting and telling me about your dreams and how you've experienced that as well. We all have the ability. It's not something that a selective few have. We all have the ability to open ourselves up to more information. How would it come? Steve says, I dreamed that I saw Angel running with a big dog, running and playing, and the dog had white spots. And come to find out, my wife said that the other dog was her brother's. Oh, I love that. How fascinating. Angel is, hopefully, when we get to the photos and comments, Angel is just beautiful, beautiful being. And she is distinctly a teacher. She came to me earlier when I glanced at that photo and she was like, I got the sense she was teaching. She was teaching younger souls. So thank you for sharing that. She is on the job, Steve, 100%. And she's teaching us all by that dream through which she came, and then you're sharing it with us. Do you see how it works? We get the dream, it's like a domino effect. So what about messages that are dreams? When you're given information from the character in the dream, it can be an exchange too. So if you would, Renee, put up Katie's photo. This is a literal message. So as some of you know, Katie was a really special dog who came to me about, I don't know, sister died in December, then she came that next September, pulled me out of deep grief, and my life started again. So she passed in 2019, actually in July. It'll be about July 26, 2019. And I was back in October 2021 in Denver to see my son. Then we went to Vail and I checked into the lodge. But when I got off the plane, I had a little, I don't have it on now, but I had a little paw print with Katie's ashes in it. And Cameron was like, "What is this?" And I said, "Well, it's Katie." And he goes, "Oh, I've never known that." I get to the lodge in Vail and the guy checking me in says, "What's that?" And I'm like, "What's what?" And he's pointing and Cameron's like, "Mom, your necklace." And so I said, "Oh, that's Katie." And I gave him, yes, the ashes. Okay, so fast forward, I go to my room. The next morning, I'm showering, I get out, and I look on the mirror. And this is what appeared in the mirror, if you can see it. It literally said, "You and Katie." Well, I stared at it like I couldn't believe it was there. And yes, interesting things happen to me. I have lots of dreams, but like this is like right there in front of me, 3D. So it startled me so badly, I didn't take a picture of it. And I was telling my son, and we went to get coffee, and he goes, "Did you take a photo?" He said, "This is like Stephen King and Red Rum, Red Rum. You need to take a photo." So the next morning, I was like, "Please let it be there again. I just want to see it again." And so I stepped out of the shower, and I'm like, "All right, waiting right there. Gotcha." And it doesn't show up. So I'm like so dejected. And I missed my time because it was such a miraculous thing. And then as I'm standing there, as I'm telling you right now, this message appeared right before it formed right before me, right in front of me. I got the photo then. So the messages can be extremely literal. Look at this. And if you look at the backstory where Katie had, given me heads up that Katie was coming, it's just amazing. So don't pay attention to all the details that you're given in every single moment. They all matter and they all mean something. And so right before last show, I also had a dream it's a quick dream I'll share about Trixie. Trixie's with me still. And Renee, if you get Trixie up, Trixie came to me years ago running on a golf course. I, for some reason, felt compelled to go help her. But anyway, long story short, she ended up coming to me. So in the dream, I call it Trixie and Friends dream. I find three little Chihuahua mixes as strays on the road. I stop to help them and they all crowd around me. All are light tan with one bigger than the other two. It was Trixie. She was the leader. They're straggly and in bad shape, obviously neglected. When I take them in, I feel like I've known them before. They feel like family in our home. And I'm delighted to be able to help them, even though they feel they're meant to be with me. I make an effort to find the home they came from, but it still feels odd and off. A lady steps forward for them. She doesn't seem to have the means to keep them, but really wants them back. In the moment I know they're heading back, my stomach tightens and I really don't want to return them, but I know I have to. Before they leave, the larger Chimex, which would be Trixie right there, communicates very clearly to me that they don't want to go either, and then very pointedly says, "Don't worry, we will return soon." And then I woke up and I sat with that and lots of different information from messages. The message here was one of them. We always return in one form or another. Our essences never die. The energy always continues. Our soul friends always show up time and time again, so we don't ever need to worry. The connection can never be broken, and it's okay for us to let go. That letting go piece for me was big, because I could feel the real resistance I had for letting go. And in my life, that's always been, a challenge with a passing and a holding on to. So, hopefully that those kind of examples help you determine what it is, what kind of dreams you may have or have had. Um, and if you're ready, I've got what I would have as an exercise for you that dropped in that I would absolutely love to share with you to help you in your own lives. Find out whether uh, the excuse me, I got something here wrong side. So at any rate, it's called the Soul Speak Dream Code. And Renee, if you would put that up, I will share with them. To If you want to write this down, this is going to be up that on the replay too. But I want you to think of a dream you've had. It can be recent or one from long ago, one that stood out. Um, let's use that, all the dreams that you've shared. From my dog had a stroke last week. So far, see, okay, I just found a feather today at my door. All the things that you've had, whether it's, current, it's a while ago. Uh, think of that one that stood out, and I want you to jot down keywords that describe the dream. Keywords, just a few words that describe it. If I had to describe um, Trixie's dream, it would have been, um, just a not wanting to let go and wanting to hold on to, and a fear of letting go, a fear of what will happen. It was this comfort of soul friends that I had around me. So just a few little keywords, and in those keywords, do you notice a theme that emerges? Just lightly cover this. Then 4 would be, and you can put these in any order. I just put them in this for the sake of us doing this together. What was the emotion? How did you feel during the dream? There's always an emotion. There's always an emotion. And you just have to sit with it to see what that was and let it come forward. And it may be more than one, usually is. Can you feel, this is a big one. I always tell people, what time what time was it in the dream? Morning? Afternoon? Evening? Can you feel that? To me, in that Trixie dream, it was not morning. It felt like afternoon, evening to me, that this where I found them, um, and where they came to me. That's always an important little detail. Now, when we're doing these, you're not going to get all the details. Maybe you don't notice things like this. Number 6 would be, was it in color or black and white? And if it was in color, what colors did you notice? That's always fascinating too. And I think, was it a black and white, like a TV show, black and white, or was it in color? The Trixie one was definitely in color, definitely in color. Um, and did the dream happen outside or inside? This particular dream for me happened inside the family room, the main part of it. From the road to getting them in, the main part of what happened was in that room. Also, good little information to have. Number 8, are you the observer? Are you the participant? Both? How do you know? you know, I was both the observer. How and think about that with dreams. How do we even know? Like, there's a part of us very aware all the time, or else we couldn't remember our dreams. We wouldn't even be able to describe what that is. Um, you know, any sounds, or was it more like a silent movie? Which is also an interesting thing to observe. With Trixie, it was more almost like telepathic exchange with me that was very, very clear, but a lot of vivid detail. Um, and 10, list all the details you noticed, include, additionally, not, are there in numbers? In mine, there were 3 dogs. Symbols, shapes, was there water in your dream? All of that is information for you, every single piece of it. And the last part that I, didn't share, that, or what I would say would be 11, is, did you feel like, did you have that dream right before you woke up? The dreams that are the most vivid, the ones that are the prophetic ones, it will feel like you had it right before you woke up. That's one of the key signs for it. So what I do, and I use this for myself, is to write a summary of your findings to decode what your dream is trying to tell you. Your summary is going to be really interesting, because you're going to put all those pieces together as you look at them and go, wow, I got a lot more detail than I even realized. Date when you had the dream and when you decoded the dream. That's always interesting. Like, I just dated when I had the dream about Butch, and I don't think I had the understanding that I do now on dreams. But date when you decode it, because deeper meanings can come afterwards, even years later. And definitely, as I started, this show with, is keep a dream journal. It's so important. It like, this book is so thick, and it goes, like, I started it in this particular book in 2006, and it went to almost like 2015. So lots of it's a I just love it, because I made a commitment and I made a decision that I was going to invite my dreams in, both literally and figuratively. So do keep a dream journal, date and record everything that happens. Is so important, and you'll get to see for yourself how wonderful, it is, and how easy it is to connect with the dream world. So as I go to questions and comments, I would love for or questions and photos. I would love for you to just jot down in the comment section if you've had any of those types of dreams. Obviously, some of them overlap with, they could all be informational, right? Or messages, or the prophetic part. So, this kind of, what I'm asking you to kind of delve into is a magical world that also becomes very real and practical to be, it's information, it's our guidance system, it's opening up to everything. So I'd be interested in if any of you have had any of those categories that you would consider, or like a combination of things. And so, with our remaining time, I will do some photos and questions, and go through that and see where we end up, and would love to hear you in the comments. So this is Angel. This is Steve's dog, Angel. She would like to find, he would like to find out how our Angel is doing and if she's reincarnated. And Steve, I mentioned that she's very busy. She gives me the indication that she is super busy, helping other souls, very teacher-like, souls that are needing guidance, she says. She says she also, uh, was that in your life, and she was like teacher. She keeps using the word teacher. So I don't know if that's how you would refer to her, or if you thought she taught you a lot. She's very proud of that label, if we want to call it a label. So I feel like right now, if you want to use the term reincarnated, she's actually reincarnating in every little soul that she helps, here and there. But I do get a real busy, like, I'm busy, almost like, she has a lot of, she's carrying a purse. She's got a lot of stuff in that purse that she's using. She's very current. I feel her energy very current. So hopefully that is helpful for you. I'm so glad you shared her with us. So Stacy Stacy's an amazing, amazing animal intuitive herself, and her has cats that and beings that come to her. My sweet boy Onyx, I would love to connect with him, and I miss him so much. Oh yes, he definitely. When I put this together, I got the sense that he is actually leading you toward others. That he's part of your growth. He's part of your soul growth, and what you're learning now is distinctly part of what his soul purpose was and is with you. I'm hearing the word team. I'm hearing the word like like interesting. He's a seeing eye cat. He says he's a seeing eye cat. Seeing eye being. He's correcting me, but I feel like Stacy, you could so journal with him and totally connect with him that way. Very, very easy to communicate with him. Um, so appreciate you showing this a gorgeous photo and there it shows his eyes. And that's probably why he's using the seeing eye being, as he corrected me from saying cat. I think he's been with you before too. So hopefully that helps, Stacy. Thanks for sharing him. And Patty Evans, oh, morning, Tammy. You know this story. Please tell Tay that he was loved. I had big plans for him in his recovery. I'm so sorry for the way he was treated on this planet. I'm leaving the door open if he wants to return. You know, I love that you shared this. This is an amazing little mini horse that only came to Patty very short amount of time, and she didn't have a lot of time. And I think she was hoping that it would be much longer. But part of his role with her and her gift to him was allowing him to just pass peacefully and not hang he's saying, Don't hang on to how I was treated." I don't he doesn't hang on to that. Where his focus is the absolute compassion and love that he was shown. That outweighs and overcomes any mistreatment. And so he says always to focus on that. And this is actually the message for the group. He is a very his he's a soul teacher, he's a spirit teacher. And so I'm really glad you shared that, because sometimes it's our plans and our expectations that get in the way. Just like with Butch, I didn't have the first clue, and I didn't know what healing meant either. I just knew that I made a commitment on a heart level, and that's what you did. And when we do that, the healing takes care of itself. So thank you for sharing that. And Joan says, "This is more of a nightmare, but I do hospice rescue, so go through the end of life process somewhat often. I started having strange euthanasia nightmares, one where I needed to help a pet pass, and the vet clinic was having a staff party around us. It was awful. I've had like 3 or 4 like this recently and wish I didn't." Joan, this is curious, and it's an interesting dream because I feel like there's so much contrast in what the actual energy is in the passing of the feeling, the feelings around it, the people that are involved, and also it's interesting to me the party they were having. It seemed in the dream like they were disregarding the souls, and they thought that this was something to celebrate. If you stretch it or extract it a little bit further, then you can also feel that the animals do feel like it's a time to celebrate. So in that sense, the extended sense, that is actually there is a celebration that goes on. I understand from you being in the rescue how that comes across as so conflicted of an energy where they're not necessarily paying attention to the sacred part as much as the lightness, which doesn't feel like it's light. I would definitely use the exercise to go in that a little bit more and see what comes forward for you, especially since you're feeling that it's very nightmarish and it's upsetting. And maybe you can journal around the "it was awful" feeling and go a little bit deeper into that. Like what was that awful feeling about? Was it about what you were showing them, or was it about the animals that many animals that have passed with you being present or with you being part of that? So thank you for sharing that. That's a really it's helpful for all of us. And this is Our Chihuahua Brownie passed away 7/31/21, and questions include, I feel like she's trying to communicate. What does she want to tell us? We were not there when she passed. Is she mad and upset at us? And our animals reincarnated. She's wanting me to zero in on that first of all, animals' souls have a choice in their souls have a participation in things as well, and we always have to remember that it's not just us having to euthanize them. Their souls are participating. It's information, it's teachings for the vet, for anybody in the area. And so she's not upset at all that you were not there at all. She says it's all part of the soul plan. It's there's no mad in her, she says. And I get I get the strongest sense that she's continuing. I don't know if she's giving you signs, but she says she's very alert and perky, and that you will know when you have a sign from her, but you have to set aside the guilt you feel about not being there. She says that's getting in the way, actually. So I would totally journal on that if you can, see if that helps you release some of that, but to invite her in to dreams. And because she is very communicative. She says she's a chatterbox. So I don't know whether when she was with you, she chattered a lot or, talked a lot. She said she has a lot to say. So yes, I would definitely do all those things. And what will get revealed is going to be confirmation for you that you too can communicate with animals, and with yourself too. So thank you for sharing that. And this one came through, Katrina. My mom was my everything. She was an angel on earth. She was the kindest human being I ever have known. She did good to any living being and died from, I cannot pronounce it, 3 years ago, enduring unbearable pain. She loved cats, and I gave her two adorable kittens, two baby boys who made her last year's happy 4 years happier. After a year of my mom's death, one of my furry boys died from cancer, and 8 months ago, his brother died too. I'm devastated. I love them so much. They love me unconditionally. I wish I could see them in my dreams. I can reach a little peace if I know they are reunited and happy now. I get the sense that there was a definite reunion and that they are definitely all together. And I'm seeing the three of them actually. There's an excitement around you reaching out and me reading this on the show, because this is going to help a lot of people with understanding that that energy just continues on. And I see a big smile on your mom's face, and the 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 cats are actually rubbing up against her, and she's, I don't know, she's carrying something. So I don't know if you have something of hers that she wants you to find. It's something carrying, almost like that basket I'm seeing, that she's offering with her hands. So I would totally thank them for guiding you to even reach out, because that was communication. You were getting guidance to put this down, to send it out for the show. They are together, and ask to see them in your dreams. Just ask. Just from your heart, like, I would love, love, love to see, to have communication, and I'm so comforted to know that you're all together, and let's keep that conversation going. There's no reason why it can't. And also, Kat just pointed out, there's a symbolism of three here. So I would think about that. I'd kind of meditate on that to see what that actually means, or what you think it could be mean. Um, these Mary says, "These messages you are giving brings me comfort. I can relate them to my Ginger. I feel like she was around and happy." Um, Definitely, anytime you reach out, and I share on the show, the animals are always behind it. The spirits are always behind it, and they're all wanting us to share in that. So thank you, Katrina, for sharing that. Lovely. And if you get the message later, or whatever it was you learned from the sharing and our, my interpretation, don't hesitate to email and let me know. Jolene says, I had a dream that my gunner was scared. I assumed that dream was telling me that I'm a helicopter dog mom. I love that. He is like definitely confirming that. Yep. Yep. You definitely are. Um, and he likes that about you, but at the same time, he says, "It's a bit much. It's a bit much, mom." So he's like, "I've got this. Be easy about it." So I would take the dream exercise that I gave you and work with that a little bit. See if you can expand on some of the details, that you're feeling from that, and go. It's going to be really helpful for all of you when you do this exercise on with your own dreams. So thanks for sharing that, Jolene, helicopter mom. Martine, this is Troy. I had a dream visitation of Troy after he crossed over to heaven. He was in it, me and a friend of mine, and he looked all right and calm and healthy. And he had as well a dream of falling frisbee toy on the ground. Well, felt that it was him in that dream playing. Woke up when the frisbee fell on the ground in the dream. Wow, I love that. I really love that. Troy passed very tragically, very suddenly. That decision had to be made when I believe Martini was about 4. And so he has been a continual guide ever since he passed with her. She now has another dog, but Troy is extraordinarily present and always will be. He was very much a soul heart dog. So yes, Martine says amazing pets stay the same on the other side as they were here, even more so. Their core stays no matter how they pass. Yes, and from the essence is always there. We can't lose essence ever, ever. And this is Troy. He passed, yes, with vein and brain rupturing, sudden and tragic passing at age 4. Again, it's just a validation for us all that, just like with Trixie, don't worry, you can let go. That letting go, we're not going to lose them. Patricia, we won't lose Maggie. When we let go, it opens up for them to come right back in a beautiful, beautiful way. And I so appreciate all of the connection we've had today and all of your stories. And I always go back and read them and the comments. So I appreciate that. And when I ask for photos and questions, I get so many, and I do my best to get to as many as possible. And I will always do that on every show. And if I can go back and grab some that have come before, I will. If you ever need to, or want, or feel the desire that you would like to work a little bit deeper with some of the things you're going through, I do one-on-one sessions with people, and it's a wonderful way to kind of unpack everything and allow the animals to come forward in a very, very intimate and personal way. And that's always available. You can go to my website at tamihendricks.com/booking and see what the availability is. It is an honor at any time we connect. It's an honor on the show. So happy you came. Next show is August 3rd. I am thinking it will be about animals and trust. That came to me very, very strongly yesterday. So be thinking about that. Send me your messages. Let's keep the conversation going.
You've been enjoying Tammy's Soul Speak featuring animal intuitive and medium Tami Hendricks.